Welcome back to the Solutions Lab. I'm Chris Phillips, D&H's Technical Enablement Supervisor. For years, a constant question we've been receiving here at the Solutions Lab is what is the best way that I can have my customers connect to their displays in their conference rooms and their digital signage devices? Well, for the longest time, that answer's been fragmented into a number of different devices. And that's what you might see if you walk into any of your customers' sites at this point. You go in, you'll see a number of different displays using a number of different devices to connect to them, whether they're in front as a lobby digital signage device or in the back as the conference room display that you need to have something to connect to it so you can do your presentations. This can be a nightmare to manage from an IT perspective because you have multiple platforms running multiple software that an IT administrator has to learn all of those things to effectively manage. So if there was a device that allowed you to not only do the wireless connection you need to your conference room in the back, but also be a pseudo device you can use to run basic digital signage in the front and still manage that over a wide or across all networks and from a single pane of glass, that would be a great solution to have. And that's exactly what we have here today. And it's going to start with the Airtame 2. And you may have heard of Airtame in the past. It is exactly that connectivity device that we've talked about in the past. It allows you to connect wirelessly from your device, whether it be a Windows laptop, Chromebook, MacBook, iOS, or Android device, to a display or projection device if you're connected to it. But the Airtame 2 also does a lot more due to the new Airtame Cloud that we're going to talk about. But to begin, I want to show you how to set up one of these Airtames, how to connect to it, and just how simple and easy it is. So to start, we've taken an Airtame 2 and we've connected it to this display behind us. It's got a really simple magnet mount on the back, so all you have to do is stick it to the back metal of display, plug it in, and you're off and running. And on the back, it actually has the quick setup menu up there. So I've gone ahead and gone to airtame.com/download to download the Airtame software to begin the setup process. To begin, all you have to do is hit download and install the software. If you don't have admin rights to the device, example would be domain registered devices from a company that doesn't allow you to install third-party applications. D&H does something very similar to that. They do have a guest app you can use that you do not need admin privileges to download and connect to Airtame devices. But I've already gone ahead and I've already installed the Airtame software on this laptop. I'm going to go ahead and open it, and on the right-hand side, you can actually see the Airtame dashboard and the devices I can connect to or set up. And up in the top left here, I have my new Airtame that we just unboxed and plugged in. So I'm going to go ahead and start the setup process for that. First thing it's going to ask for is a name, and I'm going to call it the studio because we're in the studio here. And then it's going to ask for a Wi-Fi signal. And it's going to go ahead and scan the Wi-Fi signals around us and select the best signal for this device. And it has grabbed the D&H media that we are connected to on this laptop. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to that as well. It's already propagated the password for me because I've already, again, logged into this Wi-Fi myself. And I'm done at that point. As you can see back here, there's a green check mark on the screen. It says the Airtame Studio is now connected to D&H media. And we're good to go at this point. We can now connect to this device wirelessly and start presenting on it. I'm going to say, yep, I've got the confirmation. Going to hit OK. And there you got it. We have not only the studio that we set up, but we have 2 Cents, which is another conference room that's close to the studio here. And we have both of them set up on our wireless media connection. And we can go ahead and now share our display, our screen, to these 2 displays. I'm going to start by sharing just this laptop to the studio behind me. And as you can see, very, very quickly, I'm already going ahead and mirroring my laptop to the display behind me. But if I wanted to also mirror my device to the 2 Cents conference room, I can just add a screen. and it's going to go ahead and it's going to add the 2 cents to the screen share as well, and now I'm streaming to multiple displays at once. This is great if you're in a conference room that has multiple displays. You can set up an Airtame to each one of them, and then you can manage each one of those individually, whether you want to have someone connected to one, someone connected to the other, or in some cases, the same person connected to both for better coverage throughout the room. You don't have to run cables or duplicators or any kind of that stuff. The Airtame will take care of that for you in the software, which is a great solution. And if we stopped right here, if this was the end of the webcast, and I've shown you a device that you can take out of the box, put on the back of a display, set up and start sharing to within 4 minutes, we'd have a pretty good webcast. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're actually here to talk about the management of this, which is the new Airtame Cloud. And I want to go ahead and jump into that and show you how easy it is to not only connect these Airtames to the cloud, but then go ahead and start managing them from a single pane of glass. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to stop sharing on both of these things because I'm going to need to get to the settings here in a second. And I'm going to go over to airtame.cloud, and it's going to bring up the Airtame Cloud dashboard. And this dashboard will show us all the devices we have connected to our Airtame Cloud account. And as you can see, we actually have 2 different locations. D&H, when we moved to our new campus in late 2019, we actually split our company between 2 different buildings, 100 Tech Drive and 200 Tech Drive. I've set up 2 Airtames in the 200 building, and we're over here in the 100 building where we just have the 2 cents conference room and the device we just set up behind us. So let's add the device we just set up behind us to the cloud dashboard. What we're going to have to do is go over here on the left-hand side, and right-hand side, and add Airtame. And we're going to add it to the 100 Tech Drive building. And it's going to give us this little menu, and it's going to give us this code that we can go ahead and copy. And then we got to go back into the Airtame software and grab that studio that we just set up. Go ahead and hit settings. And then you have the cloud token, and I'm just going to paste it in here and hit apply. And then within a couple seconds, go back to the dashboard's main screen. The Studio Airtame is going to show up in the dashboard, and then we can start to manage that device from the cloud. We don't need to be connected to the same wireless signal to it anymore. We can just manage it from wherever we're at. And as you can see, it is now added to 100 Tech Drive. And you can kind of get all the basic information, what network it's connected to, the IP signal strength, which is great for diagnosing problems with connectivity between a device and the display, and whether the access point is on or off inside of it, and as well as the Airtame's current plan. Now, there are 2 types of plans that the Airtames can have. They can get Lite right out of the box, and Lite gives them access to the dashboard and many of the settings I'm going to show you. But the Plus plan allows you to add applications, allows you to add sleep timers, and really give you more granular control of the devices, as well as being able to monitor the devices remotely, which we'll see that in a couple seconds. So I want to go inside and start actually changing some of the settings on that studio that we just set up. So all you have to do is click on the device, and again, right-hand side, top, there's an edit settings. And it's going to pull up a screen where I can go ahead and start making changes to the device. If I want to be able to add mirror support for Google Cast or Miracast or AirPlay, I can toggle that on and off right from here. I can change the name of the device, change its orientation. I can change the home screen overlay. If you're looking back here, there's a little white box that has how you have to wirelessly present to that. I'm actually going to go ahead and make changes to that and make that a little bit more customized in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just turn that off for now, and we'll bring it back in a little bit. And then you can change the background to, if you've got a company background you use, or you use a website, you can go ahead and make that. But we are actually going to use the Plus applications that we'll show you in a little bit. If you don't have the Plus, if you only have Lite, these would be the 2 things you could change for the home screen. And then there's a wide variety of other settings you can do as well. You can enable 2.4. I would leave it to 5 gigahertz if you have the ability to. You're just going to get a faster, cleaner connection between device and Airtame with that enabled. So we're going to go ahead and apply these settings, and just like that, I can quickly make changes to this device. But you can also make global changes to all devices, whether they're at the same location or not, or even connected to the same network. So I have all my devices here at 200 tech drive and 100 tech drive. I'm just going to hit the top boxes in both and kind of select them all. And I'm going to go ahead and make a global change. And from here, I can see all the different settings I can change globally. And what I want to do is I'm going to add a sleep timer or sleep schedule to all of these devices. That way, when we get to the office at 8 in the morning, all these devices turn on. And when we leave by 8 p.m., all the devices turn off. We save electricity. The displays aren't on 24/7. It's just better for the devices overall. And all I have to do is go ahead and turn that on. And I'm going to make it a scheduled. Or you can just do it so when it's not in use. So when no one's actually actively connected to the device, it'll go to sleep. I'm going to have it scheduled, though, to turn on at 8 in the morning, turn off at 8 p.m. And I can add a bunch of other settings here if I wanted to. If I wanted to change the time zone for all of these globally, I can go ahead and get time zone, and I can select city. I don't think they're going to have Harrisburg listed, so I'm going to go to my default, my home city of Detroit, and we're going to change all their time zones to the city of Detroit. And we can add a whole bunch of other settings if we want to as well. We can even tell the Airtame's LEDs that if we can add that on there, do we want the LEDs to turn on or off? We can have them on to, or we can have them off if we don't want that light to be flashing at us at all times. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and now it's going to make all 3 of those changes all at once to all 4 devices we're managing. Without us having to go into each device individually and make all those changes. It's just an easier way for an administrator to handle all those changes. While we're talking about people that are actually doing the management of these devices, I want to go ahead and on the right-hand side quickly show you the teams down here in the bottom left. From this tab, you can actually invite new people to be a manager of these devices to the cloud dashboard. And when you invite a new user, I'm going to put in John at D&H. I'm so creative with the names, Joe and John at D&H.com. You can select the role they want, whether you want them to be a full administrator, a manager, or just have access to the home screen tab only to make home screen changes. I'm going to say John is a manager, but the important thing you can do here is also select which groups he can manage. So if you have a dashboard for 100 different offices, you can go ahead and say, hey, John, you can only manage the 100 tech drive office, or you can only manage the 200 tech drive office. So you limit the number of devices they've seen, and they're less likely to mess with some devices that aren't even on their network. So you can really have a granular setup of who can manage what devices if you are using these groups effectively. So I'm going to go ahead and create this user, hit send, and then whenever John at D&H.com accepts this one, he will fill out the rest of his information, and he's off and he can manage the 100 tech drive devices. Now, as an administrator, it's important to be able to see these devices no matter where you are. Luckily, Airtame has built in that functionality if you are subscribed to the Plus platform, and that is their screens. And through screens, you can go ahead and see all the screens and what they're currently displaying whenever you want. As you can see over down here in the 100 tech drive, we have our studio that we have set up, and right now it's just got this background, which is exactly what we have back here as well. So let's go ahead and it's mirroring this display so we can go ahead and see it whenever we need to. Also helps diagnose problems when someone says, hey, did you know there's a picture of a cell phone on our digital signage in the lobby? We can go, yeah, I see that. Let me take that out and we'll fix that. Well, let's get into actually how you would fix that. So let's go into Studio here and start to make some customization changes to the actual applications that are running on this Airtame. Again, we're going to go into the settings, and it's going to ask us to select an application to get started. And there's 10 applications you can select from. the first and probably most useful one, especially for a device that's going to be used in the conference room, is the home screen. And through the home screen, you can make a custom home screen rather than the generic one that you see when you just originally do these Airtames out of the box and don't do really any customization. So from the home screen app, I can go ahead and if we are using Google Calendars or Office 365, we can use calendar integration with the conference room to show that conference room schedule throughout the day. So if I have the 2 cents room in Office 365 scheduled out 1 to 2 is one meeting, 3 to 4 is one meeting, we can go ahead and see that directly on the conference room screen without having to guess who's next. Same with Google Calendars as well. I'm just going to turn off the integration for right now, make it a little bit easier. You can change the image, so if for some reason you don't like happy little mountains, we can go ahead and just put our corporate logo in here, which is, we're going to use the Solutions Lab logo. And if you also want to change the little Airtame logo as well to your corporate logo, you can go ahead and do that as well. And then right below that, you can actually write out custom guides that appear on the screen. So if you are housing the Airtame app for whatever reason locally, you can have that direct to a local URL by changing it in. If you don't want the IP address to show up, you can go ahead and just delete that and make that change. You can make all the customization you want and kind of make that custom to what you want seen. You can go ahead and select the clock that's also going to be playing on there. We'll do Eastern time. We'll do AM and PM instead of military time, a little bit easier to read. And very, very quickly, we've created our own custom home screen for the studio. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And we're going to go ahead and actually add a couple more things to this before we send it to the screen behind us. So let's say we also wanted to roll some digital signage on this as well. I'm going to go ahead and add another app. And this time we're going to go ahead and grab the OneDrive gallery. If you're using Dropbox as well, there's also a gallery for that. But we have a OneDrive device that our account that we used in the Poly plus Teams that I want to access here real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly log in to that account. Airtame's going to go ahead and grab it. And now it's going to say, hey, which folder on your OneDrive do you want there's your digital signage in? So we'll go ahead and through the dashboard, quickly log into OneDrive. And I've got all my digital signage content in a DS content folder on my OneDrive. All I have to do is select it, open it, and then all my digital signage content is going to start showing up. And it's going to preview over here, and I can quickly thumb through it real quick, make sure all my content's right. Looks good. That's a nice Airtame logo there. All right, looks good. And I can set up the intervals between each slide. So if I want each one being up there for a minute, you can change it to anything, I think, up to 3 seconds. I'm going to make it 15 seconds. I'll scroll through this really quickly. And just like that, I have now a scroll of digital signage. Now, if you go into that OneDrive and you add a different image or you remove a different image, Airtame's going to update automatically. You don't have to go back into the dashboard and mess with that anymore. So if you have a repository of cloud images you use for your digital signage, Airtame's going to take that and automatically update all your devices that have this attached to it. Just that easy. One other thing you can do if you want to add a little bit of flavor, you can use a service called Unsplash to kind of add some images to your digital signage. In this case, I'm going to go computers. And these are just royalty-free images from the service. And it's going to just scroll through images to kind of give you a little bit of flavor, a little bit variety on your daily digital signage as well. Back on this page, I can actually customize how long each app is playing for. So if I want the home screen to only be playing for, we'll lower this. We'll make it 10 minutes is going to show the connection options. And then for 2 minutes, it's going to play the digital signage. And then we'll just do 1 minute for the random content. And then I've created now a playlist of home screens and digital signage for this Airtame. All I have to do to send this to the Airtame is apply the settings, and very, very quickly, on the display behind me. It's going to start grabbing all that information. There, it's already grabbed the home screen, and once 10 minutes has passed, the home screen is going to roll into the digital signage we set up. Then it's going to roll into the images that we set up. And just like that, we've set up this Airtame and it's ready to go. If you want to do it where it's only being used as a digital signage device, you can disable all the connectivity to it as well, and you can use it purely as a digital signage device that you're managing within this dashboard, which is still great because you still get that ability that within the dashboard, you at any given time can look into it, peek in, and see what's on there. So if there's any issues, you can go ahead and resolve them pretty much instantaneously. And with that being said, this dashboard is actually just that easy. We come across so many different devices and so many different solutions that are difficult to use if you're not an IT administrator. But with this Airtame Cloud, it's easy for not only IT administrators, but just basic everyday users to get in there, make the changes they want to get to, and kind of set up their devices how they want to without having to jump through very many hoops. There is a robust amount of tools that we're not going to get into today to secure these devices, turn off their access points, make them lock them down so they're very secure within a corporate infrastructure. We won't get that today, but if you do have questions about that, we are doing a live Q&A coming up right next. If you missed the live Q&A and you have any questions, email us, proav@dnh.com, where we have a team of ProAV specialists that can help you sell these devices. Solutionslab@dnh.com, where we have a group of sales engineers, myself, and a number of other ones that can help answer any of your technical questions. And with that, I will look forward to answering your questions in the live Q&A coming up.